I'm Austin, and today on the plate we have a couple epic malicious compliance stories. Before we start, do subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications if you like your stories read with power. Let's dive right on in. Giant Golden Archway, posted by ZenithBlade115. Back in 2010, I got a job working for a company that has an unofficial food item where you put $1 menu sandwich into another. I worked there for a year and a half. During that time, I learned everything. I could open, close, work the grill very well, and work front counter and drive-thru as well, if not better, than most that work there on a consistent basis. I'd been promised a review when I was hired that was to take place after 6 months of being there. Being the kind of employee that wants to move up in the company, I never pushed the issue, but instead kept pushing to learn everything I could so that when I did get my review, I would get a good one. In my time there, I called off once because I was recovering from emergency surgery to get rid of a pilonidal cyst that had ruptured. On the same token, I was always the first to volunteer to pick up a shift if it didn't interfere with my college classes. After being there a year and a half, they announced that everyone would be getting a review. My general manager came to me and told me the time she wanted to schedule me for my raise. I told her at that time that I would be needing a quarter raise to $10 a week in order to make it so I could sustain working there while going to college, and she said she understood. When my review came, I was floored. Despite all of the work I had put in and the energy I had poured into my job hoping to reach management while going to college, she assessed me as a meets expectations employee. I don't mean to sound cocky, but I knew my own value as an employee. I knew I more than exceeded expectations of an employee of that company, and I said as much. She tried to claim it was based on the consensus of the other managers, but I knew myself to be a favorite employee of every manager but her. She then told me that she would be giving me a 15-cent raise. I told her that I'd requested a quarter, and she said that 15 cents was the best she could do. The wheels turned in my head, and I knew I was undervalued by her, and I would never have a chance to move up, so I told her that I would be putting in my 2 weeks' notice. She looked at me as if I had slapped her and said, "You're leaving over 10 cents?" I looked her right in the eyes and I said, "No, you are losing a fully cross-trained employee that loves her job over 10 cents. I then stood up and walked out to my car. I did write out a 2 weeks' notice and immediately began looking for work. During my search, when she worked with me, she'd frequently tell me how someone of my experience couldn't hope to get a job making the $8 that I'd requested of them. Well, I did, and then some. I applied to a gas station that was obsessed with the letter Z on the East Coast and was to work in their kitchen overnight. I'd be making $12 an hour if I got the job. I called literally every day until I got an interview. I had my interview the night of my last call and was given the job on the spot. With 5 days left on my notice, I informed her that I'd gotten a job, where I'd gotten it, and how much I'd be making. If looks could kill, I'd have never been able to start at my other job because of the dirt that I'd be buried under. To get back at me, she wanted the one thing that I treasured most. As an employee working for that company, they'd give you pins that you could put on your hat to show your accomplishments. In a year and a half, I'd earned over 30 pins. I was proud of them and considered them a collection. She told me that after my last shift, I'd have to return my uniforms and all of my pins. I claimed that the pins were mine as payment for things that I'd done, but she told me that she would make sure I'd be docked the cost of my pins out of my last paycheck if I didn't return them. She did it. Despite everything that I'd worked for to turn this in my favor, she got under my skin. So I decided to get her back. Not wanting to completely burn a bridge, I came up with an idea that I can confidently say was my own, but had been done before on some shows that I'd never seen at the time. I decided to suspend them in Jell-O. The night before my last shift, I cooked up a large bowl of Jell-O. Before putting it in the fridge, I tied strings around my pins and suspended them at various points throughout the bowl by taping the string ends to the outside of the bowl. I let it cool overnight. After I finished my last shift, I told my manager that I was running home to get my uniforms and pins. I returned a half an hour later with my Jell-O overturned onto a plate. I'll always miss you, plate. And then I put the uniforms on the floor next to her desk and, looking her dead in the eye, placed the Jell-O on her desk and said, "Here's your pins." I walked out without waiting for her response and decided never to go there again. My roommate, who also worked there, told me that it was all her coworkers could talk about all day. I was at least able to take some satisfaction in the fact that maybe I would inspire some other shenanigans from my coworkers if they, too, decided that company was not for them. As a reminder, people don't quit bad jobs. They quit bad managers. Oh, this is an office level prank if you've seen either the European or the American TV show. Just great job, OP. Super creative. Just get that message across, and I hope everything succeeds in the new job with the raise there. Way to go, OP. Office appropriate attire, posted by Richie65. This was about 5 years ago. Setting the stage. I had been with this massive global company, one of its manufacturing divisions, for about 7 years. I was Tier 3 plus IT support, mostly behind the scenes stuff and online meetings with folks. On call as well. The guy who hired, Steve, department director, was great. I was, and still am, a jeans and t-shirt. I have like 200 plus silkscreen tees. Nothing offensive, but pleasantly entertaining. Steve decided to exit the corporate world. I did not want his job, so massive global company found and hired a new director. Jay and I got along well, I thought, but then I started to see that he was intimidated by my skill set and ability to resolve issues with either a PowerShell script that I already had or by a command line, very quickly fixing issues in a matter of seconds using methods that he could not understand. He was a GUI person. Jay started looking for things to discipline me for, and here we go. Jay decided that my wearing t-shirts was unprofessional. I said, "What do you mean by unprofessional?" Jay said, "It gives the impression to others that you don't respect them and they don't think they can trust you to do your job correctly." Others? Who? Who thinks I can't do my job? Look, I'm not going to argue this. You need to come to work in office-appropriate attire, period. So, I'm not capable of doing my job unless I'm wearing office-appropriate attire, not allowed to do my job unless that is how I'm dressed? Jay bluntly and dismissively said, "That's it." I said, "Well then, I need to add this kind of specific detail to this write-up." Yeah, he was putting it on paper, so I added that to my comment. Management determined, explained to me, and I now understand that I am not able to perform my work-related tasks in a professional manner unless I'm wearing office-appropriate attire. Then, for about 3 weeks, slacks and polo shirts. On a Friday night, I get a call at about 11:15 p.m., since remember, I'm on call. There's an issue affecting multiple production lines. None of the computers are connecting to the network. They can't print labels and blah, blah, blah. My plan comes into full effect. Full circle ensues. I tell the production supervisor that I can't do anything about it. Really, I just needed to run a script that bounces DHCP on a domain controller, but I digress. Because I am not wearing office-appropriate attire, and he knew what I was referring to, and all my clothes were at the dry cleaner, and that I will pick them up on my way to the gym Monday morning. That blew up tremendously, as expected. Jay calls me early Saturday morning, where I, bluntly and dismissively, tell him that this issue is his problem, not mine. He was the one who disciplined me and insisted that I was not able to do my job unless I was wearing office-appropriate attire, and that it is documented that I must be wearing office-appropriate attire in order to do my job, and that this will be happening on Monday morning after I pick up my clothes from the dry cleaner. Your rules, buddy, not mine. Have a nice weekend. Then tell me how to fix this. I'm not even wearing pants right now. I can't do work stuff. Jay angrily hangs up. Monday, I come in prepared for battle. With HR, Jay, and the plant manager in the same room, I spell out how this is going to work. as best as I can recall. If you don't like this, let me know now. If you folks don't think I can do my job wearing a t-shirt and jeans after doing my job exceptionally well for 7 years wearing a t-shirt and jeans, then this changes when Jay shows up. I promise you that what I am wearing is not the problem. Jay is. If you see it otherwise, explain it to me. HR and the plant manager say, huh, what? HR, don't play stupid. You saw that write-up and you filed it accordingly. The plant manager says, what? I explained the write-up to the plant manager. Plant manager says that this is the stupidest thing he's ever heard and ultimately blasts Jay and HR. Plant manager reassures me that this will never happen again. The write-up is garbage and that if I have any other problems, to let him know. He asked me to fix the production line issue. I pop up my laptop screen, log in, run a PowerShell script and say, should be good in a few minutes. About 6 months later, I suspect that Jay was up to some unscrupulous stuff and found all kinds of proof in his email. Sent that off to the plant manager. Jay was terminated the next day. If you don't have a public-facing position, you can totally wear jeans and t-shirt and do your job just fine. I get it if it's public-facing, but this situation is a valuable IT employee where it doesn't even really matter. So let him do his stuff, please. My Army shot records aren't good enough? Cool, here's my whole VA file, posted by Tripped on My Face. Alright, fellow appreciators of absurdity and pettiness, here's a satisfying medium-length read to get you that much closer to the weekend as you grind away at the hamster wheel that is the American work week. So, I recently transitioned from active duty Army to the National Guard, which, as my fellow former service members know, comes with a metric buttload of paperwork and medical records. This will be relevant later. So I got out last December, got accepted to grad school in February, and just started class a few weeks ago. As you all know, there is some sort of pandemic virusy thing going on, and many institutions require a vaccine to attend in-person classes, which the program I am enrolled in falls under. Like a good little boy, I got my vaccine as soon as I could last March, posted the obligatory nobody gives a crap picture of my vaccine card, and then moved on with my life. Fast forward to June, and I am hopping through the endless admin hoops of going back to school, and of course, submitting immunization records is on the to-do list. Since I got my shot through the National Guard, they actually already had the box checked for the pandemic vaccine. Cool. Maybe that's because I am attending a public university in the state I'm in the Guard for, so maybe they share a medical database? I don't know, it doesn't matter. And for those of you who cry HIPAA, newsflash, when you join the military, you give a few things up, get stuff in return, blah blah, that's not what the story is about. Although I don't think that a pandemic shot can do anything to me that anthrax, typhoid, and smallpox shots, 3 pinched nerves, and 5 years of running on pure hate and caffeine hasn't done to me already. But hey, I'm still kicking. On to the malicious compliance part. Now, to submit the rest of my immunization shot records, I have to upload a PDF into the school's medical portal. So, I go through the shot record in my medical outprocessing packet, snip the page so it's just the immunizations, thinking no need to include extraneous military stuff that may confuse them, and hit submit. It's literally just one page. A few days later, lo and behold, I get a notice saying that my medical records are incomplete and incorrect, and action is required on my behalf. I have to upload more info. Okay, will do. I just want to get this done. So, I submit the whole shot record and historical record and testing portion, about 30 pages. Oh, what do you know, deja vu. A few days later, I get an email saying, "Dear Mr. Student, this is to inform you that additional action is required." Yeesh. So, I log into the medical portal because of course this can't be done through email. HIPAA, I know, I just like to complain because we're all human, sue me. And see that whoever reviewed the longer PDF I uploaded wasn't satisfied, saying my submission of proof of immunization was incomplete. Okay, fine. You know what? We'll play that game. I go dig through a closet and find the folder that has my outprocessing stuff from active duty. The thing is, when you get out, they give you a physical, hard copy of your medical records on CDs in addition to all the digital stuff, as well as what they send to the VA. My medical records were long enough to require 2 CDs. So, copy them all to my laptop and then upload them to the school's medical portal. All 745 pages of CD 1 and 300 pages of CD 2. Before I hit upload, I respond to the previous message explaining that this is the entirety of my service medical records, and if this isn't sufficient documentation, please let me know. This was in maybe late July, early August. Fast forward to mid-September, and today I received an email confirming the acknowledgement of my proof of vaccination status. Hooray! Solely out of curiosity, I decided to check the documents part. Lo and behold, it's the original one-pager I made. Now, to be fair, I have no idea if someone read through that whole thing or said, screw this guy, and went back to the first one, but either way, due to the 6+ week wait, I like to think some poor sap actually tried to dig through that. But hey, if you really want to waste my time, I'll return the favor. This right here is textbook malicious compliance, from a single page to over 1,000 pages worth. I mean, hey, look, there's nothing greater than following the rules and just delivering like this. Be sure to check out another video here. My name is Austin. The secret phrase is VA. In this case, very awesome. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.